In life, we often find ourselves in situations where someone's words or actions hurt us deeply. These moments can stir up strong emotions, whether it's anger, sadness, frustration, or confusion. In those instances, our instinct may be to immediately react, to defend ourselves, or to express how we feel in the heat of the moment. However, the truth is, these automatic responses are not always the most constructive. Pausing before reacting is one of the most powerful tools we can use in these situations. It allows us to gain control over our emotions, make better decisions, and ultimately preserve our peace of mind. When we're hurt by others, the initial impulse is often driven by emotion. It's natural to want to react, to defend ourselves, or to strike back. The person who hurt us might have said something insensitive, acted in a way that feels unjust, or even betrayed our trust. In these vulnerable moments, our emotions can overwhelm us, and the idea of reacting immediately can feel justified. However, that immediate reaction is often not the most helpful response. When we respond hastily, driven by anger or hurt, we are more likely to make decisions we'll regret later, adding fuel to the fire and escalating the situation further. The key to breaking this cycle lies in the power of the pause. In that moment when we feel hurt, taking a deep breath, stepping back, and creating space between the stimulus, the hurtful action, and our response is vital. This pause gives us time to evaluate the situation objectively rather than from the lens of raw emotion. It allows us to observe our feelings without letting them dictate our actions, to acknowledge the hurt but not be consumed by it. When we pause, we allow ourselves to separate the person's actions from our personal worth. It's easy to believe that when someone hurts us, it's because we are unworthy or flawed. However, by pausing and reflecting, we remind ourselves that their actions are a reflection of them, not of who we are. This pause gives us the clarity to realize that their behavior might be more about their own struggles, insecurities, or misunderstandings than it is about us. By putting distance between the situation and our response, we create the space to reframe our perspective. In that space, we also gain the ability to reflect on how we want to respond, rather than how we feel compelled to react. When we're hurt, our emotions often cloud our judgment, making it difficult to think clearly. By pausing, we allow our rational minds to take over, giving us the opportunity to choose a response that aligns with our values and not with our temporary emotional state. We can decide whether we want to engage in the conversation, if we need time to cool off before addressing the issue, or if it's even worth addressing at all. Pausing allows us to make a decision from a place of calmness and clarity, rather than from a place of hurt and defensiveness. Another critical reason to pause before reacting is that it gives us the opportunity to choose peace over conflict. When we immediately react, we often respond in ways that escalate the situation, perpetuating negativity and increasing tension. Our words may become sharp, our actions defensive, and the situation spirals out of control. However, by pausing, we can center ourselves and ensure that our response is one that fosters understanding and resolution rather than conflict. We may choose to calmly express how we feel, or we may decide that silence or walking away is the better option. The pause helps us shift from reaction to conscious action, and in doing so, we maintain our peace and prevent unnecessary emotional turmoil. The power of pausing before reacting also has long-term benefits for our emotional well-being. When we consistently react out of anger or hurt, we reinforce negative patterns of behavior that can lead to ongoing stress, resentment, and emotional exhaustion. On the other hand, by taking a moment to pause and reflect, we build emotional resilience. We teach ourselves how to handle difficult situations with grace and composure, which leads to greater inner strength and peace. Over time, this ability to pause allows us to detach from the emotional triggers that once governed our responses, helping us maintain a sense of balance and stability no matter the circumstances. Moreover, the practice of pausing is not only a tool for managing conflict, it's also a sign of self-respect. When we react impulsively, we often give in to the emotions of the moment, allowing someone else's behavior to control how we feel and act. However, when we pause and take control of our response, we are asserting our autonomy and preserving our emotional boundaries. By doing so, we send a message to ourselves and to others that we value our peace and our ability to make thoughtful decisions. One of the most important aspects of pausing is that it creates room for healing. In moments of hurt, our emotions may feel overwhelming, but they are temporary. By taking a pause, we create the space to process the feelings that arise, allowing them to pass through us rather than holding on to them. This act of mindfulness helps us avoid carrying the weight of hurt with us, preventing emotional baggage from building up over time. The pause becomes a tool, not just for dealing with the immediate situation, but for maintaining our overall emotional health. Ultimately, pausing before reacting is a practice of self-control, emotional intelligence, and resilience. It requires a conscious decision to take a step back, to not allow our emotions to dictate our responses, and to choose a response that reflects our best selves. In doing so, we maintain our peace, protect our energy, and approach challenges with greater clarity and wisdom. The next time we're faced with a situation where we feel hurt or triggered, the pause is the power. It's the moment where we take back control and choose how we want to navigate the situation. When someone hurts us, it is easy to internalize their actions and take them personally. We may find ourselves wondering why they said or did something hurtful, or questioning our own worth in light of their behavior. However, one of the most empowering things we can do when faced with hurtful behavior is to recognize the source of the hurt. This means understanding that their actions, no matter how painful, are more often a reflection of their own struggles, insecurities, and personal challenges than a judgment of who we are as individuals. When we recognize this, we free ourselves from the toxic habit of personalizing their actions and begin to respond from a place of strength rather than vulnerability. The first step in recognizing the source of the hurt is to understand that everyone is fighting their own battles. The person who hurt you may be dealing with challenges that you cannot see: their own fears, insecurities, past traumas, or unresolved pain. These internal struggles often spill over into their interactions with others. It's important to remember that how people treat you is not necessarily a reflection of who you are. It is often a reflection of their own experiences and the emotional baggage they carry. For instance, someone who has been hurt or betrayed in the past might have developed a defensive or protective attitude. They may lash out at others because they are scared of being hurt again, and this fear manifests as anger, criticism, or even passive-aggressive behavior. Their words or actions may be fueled by their own unresolved emotional wounds rather than a direct attack on you. When we recognize this, we can begin to separate their hurtful actions from our own self-worth, realizing that their behavior is more about them than about us. Another reason people may hurt others is due to their own insecurities. People who feel inadequate, threatened, or inferior may use hurtful words or actions to try to elevate themselves or diminish others. It's a way of protecting their fragile ego or deflecting attention from their own perceived flaws. In these instances, their behavior is not a reflection of your value, but of their need to feel better about themselves. Recognizing this allows us to view their actions through a more compassionate lens instead of internalizing them and letting them erode our self-esteem. In some cases, people hurt others because of misunderstandings or lack of awareness. We all have our own perspectives shaped by our upbringing, beliefs, and experiences. A person may say something that feels hurtful to us simply because they do not understand how their words or actions affect us. This is particularly common in relationships where there is a lack of communication or empathy. Rather than reacting defensively, we can choose to recognize that their actions may have been unintentional and born from ignorance or a different viewpoint. This awareness gives us the opportunity to address the situation with understanding, rather than escalating it into a conflict. There are also instances where people may hurt others out of jealousy or envy. When someone feels envious of another person's success, happiness, or achievements, they may lash out in an attempt to bring that person down to their level. This kind of behavior is often rooted in feelings of inadequacy or fear of not measuring up. Again, recognizing that jealousy is the root cause of the hurtful behavior helps us avoid internalizing the insult or taking it personally. We can remind ourselves that their jealousy is about their own insecurities and not a reflection of our worth. Additionally, people may hurt others simply because they are unaware of the impact of their actions. They may be going through their own emotional turmoil and act out in ways that they don't realize are harmful. They may not even recognize that their words or behavior are hurtful to you. In these situations, recognizing that the source of the hurt is their lack of awareness, rather than any ill intent, allows us to approach the situation with more empathy and compassion. It can create an opportunity for open dialogue where we can express how we feel and help them understand how their actions have affected us. When we begin to recognize that the hurtful behavior we experience is more about the other person than it is about us, we take away its power to damage our sense of self. Instead of reacting with anger, shame, or hurt, we can respond from a place of understanding and strength. We can choose to view the person through a compassionate lens, realizing that they too are human and may be struggling in ways we cannot see. This understanding helps us release the need for validation from others and strengthens our internal sense of self-worth. Recognizing the source of the hurt also allows us to set healthier boundaries. When we understand that someone's behavior is more about their own issues than about us, we can choose to protect ourselves without taking their actions personally. For example, we might decide to distance ourselves from people who consistently treat us poorly, not out of anger or resentment, but out of self-respect. We recognize that their behavior is a reflection of their own struggles, and we choose not to allow their struggles to impact our emotional well-being. In doing so, we reclaim our power. We no longer let the actions of others dictate how we feel about ourselves. Instead, we choose to recognize that their hurtful behavior is a projection of their own pain, fear, or insecurity. And in recognizing this, we gain the strength to let go of the hurt, to forgive, and to move forward without carrying the emotional burden of their actions. This shift in perspective allows us to take ownership of our emotional health and frees us from the need to be validated or controlled by the actions of others. Ultimately, recognizing the source of the hurt is about understanding that we are not responsible for the emotions and behaviors of others. We cannot control what others do or say, but we can control how we respond. By recognizing that their actions are more about them than about us, we can release the emotional hold their behavior has over us. We can choose to respond with grace, empathy, and understanding, knowing that their hurtful actions do not define who we are. Choosing peace over reaction in difficult situations is a powerful practice that not only benefits our emotional well-being but also enhances life. The pressure to succeed is immense. We live in a society that places high value on achievement, accomplishment, and progress. From an early age, we are taught that success is the ultimate goal, the thing we should strive for, and the measure of our worth. Whether it's academic success, career advancement, financial prosperity, or personal milestones, the drive to succeed can feel overwhelming. But behind this external pressure, there lies an internal struggle that many of us face, the struggle to maintain our focus, our passion, and our determination when success seems so distant or elusive. This pressure can be paralyzing, leading to feelings of doubt, frustration, and in some cases, the belief that success is simply unattainable. The notion of chasing success has become ingrained in our mindset. We are often taught to set goals, work tirelessly toward them, and expect rewards for our efforts. But what happens when success doesn't come quickly, or when we encounter setbacks? We begin to doubt ourselves, question our abilities, and wonder if we are on the right path. The longer we chase success, the more it seems like an ever-moving target that is always just out of reach. The pursuit of success, rather than fulfilling us, can leave us feeling empty, exhausted, and defeated. It's easy to get caught in this cycle, believing that if we just work a little harder or try a little longer, success will finally be ours. But this mindset can cause more harm than good, often leading us to neglect what truly matters in life. The first problem with chasing success is that it creates an external focus, one that places our value on external outcomes rather than internal growth. Success in this context is often defined by societal standards, money, status, recognition, things that are beyond our full control. We become fixated on these markers, believing that once we achieve them, we will be happy, fulfilled, and complete. But this external focus blinds us to the importance of the internal journey, the growth, self-awareness, and personal development that truly define success. The reality is that success is not something that can be chased. It is something that must be cultivated from within. True success comes from a place of self-awareness and clarity. It is the ability to be content with who we are, regardless of external achievements. It is about recognizing our worth as individuals and finding purpose in our actions, regardless of whether or not they lead to immediate rewards. When we stop chasing success and instead focus on living with intention, we allow ourselves to embrace the process, learn from our mistakes, and grow in ways that can't be measured by external markers. Success, in this sense, becomes less about reaching a destination and more about the journey itself. Another issue with chasing success is that it can lead to burnout. When we are constantly striving for the next achievement or goal, it can feel like we are never doing enough. We push ourselves harder, work longer hours, and sacrifice our health, relationships, and well-being in the name of success. This pursuit becomes all-consuming, and over time, the very thing we are striving for, the achievement of success, becomes a source of stress and anxiety. We lose sight of what is important, trading our peace of mind for fleeting moments of accomplishment. Success no longer feels satisfying because we have neglected the very aspects of our lives that bring true fulfillment: our health, our relationships, and our connection to what matters most to us. The pressure to chase success also keeps us stuck in a cycle of comparison. We measure our progress against the achievements of others, believing that we are only successful if we are ahead of the pack. This comparison trap fuels feelings of inadequacy and insecurity, making us feel like we are constantly falling short. We look at others' accomplishments and feel like we are not doing enough, or that we are somehow less capable or less deserving of success. This constant comparison takes away from our own unique journey, causing us to lose sight of what makes us special and what we truly want out of life. Rather than focusing on our own goals and values, we become distracted by the successes of others, and in doing so, we lose our sense of self and purpose. One of the most insidious effects of chasing success is the impact it has on our happiness. Success, as defined by external standards, is often conditional. We believe that we will only be happy once we achieve a particular goal or attain a certain level of success. But this mindset traps us in a constant state of longing, always waiting for the next achievement to bring us fulfillment. We postpone our happiness, believing that success is something that will happen in the future, rather than realizing that happiness is something we can cultivate right now. When we chase success, we tie our happiness to something external, which means that our happiness is always out of our control. But when we stop chasing success and focus on being content with who we are, we find that happiness comes from within, independent of external circumstances. The pressure to chase success also causes us to overlook the importance of failure. In a culture that celebrates achievement and success, failure is often seen as something to be avoided at all costs. We fear failure because we believe it means we are not good enough, not capable enough, or not worthy of success. But failure is an essential part of growth. It teaches us valuable lessons, helps us develop resilience, and gives us the opportunity to refine our approach. When we chase success at all costs, we are often unwilling to embrace failure and learn from it. But when we stop chasing success and embrace the journey, we begin to see failure as a necessary part of the process, something that helps us become stronger, wiser, and more capable in the long run. Ultimately, the key to living a fulfilled and meaningful life is to stop chasing success and start creating it from within. Success is not a destination, it is a mindset, a way of living with purpose, intention, and authenticity. It is about understanding that true fulfillment comes from aligning our actions with our values, finding meaning in the process, and embracing both the successes and the failures along the way. When we stop chasing success, we free ourselves to experience life more fully, to find joy in the present moment, and to realize that the greatest achievement is not the one we attain, but the person we become along the journey. The fear of judgment is one of the most pervasive and paralyzing forces in the human experience. It's the voice inside our heads that questions whether we will be accepted, liked, or respected by others. This fear often leads to the inhibition of our authentic selves and causes us to mold our behavior to meet the expectations of others, even at the expense of our true desires and beliefs. In a world where social media amplifies the opinions of others and where public image plays such a significant role in determining personal worth, this fear can become even more pronounced. It's easy to become consumed by the desire to be accepted, to fit in, and to gain approval from others. But the problem with this mindset is that it leads to a constant cycle of self-doubt and inauthenticity, and it can prevent us from living a life that is truly our own. The root of the fear of judgment lies in our deep-seated need for connection and belonging. As social creatures, humans have evolved to thrive in groups. Our survival historically depended on being part of a tribe, community, or family, and being cast out or ostracized could have dire consequences. This evolutionary instinct has shaped our behavior in modern times, leading us to seek acceptance from others as a form of security. We want to be loved, liked, and valued because it gives us a sense of safety and validation. It's natural to want to be seen in a positive light, but when this desire becomes the driving force behind our actions and decisions, it can quickly spiral into an unhealthy pattern that limits our growth and well-being. The fear of judgment manifests in many ways. For some, it shows up as anxiety before speaking in public or expressing an opinion in a group. For others, it may appear as a constant preoccupation with how we look or what others think of us. The fear of being judged can cause us to suppress our true thoughts, feelings, and desires in order to fit into societal expectations or to please those around us. We may dress a certain way to be seen as fashionable or successful, adopt opinions that align with popular trends, or avoid difficult conversations to prevent conflict. Over time, this behavior becomes so ingrained that it feels natural, but it also prevents us from being fully present in our own lives and prevents us from pursuing our genuine passions and goals. One of the most damaging aspects of the fear of judgment is that it keeps us in a state of constant comparison. We measure ourselves against others, believing that our worth is determined by how we stack up. This comparison trap is fueled by social media, where curated images of perfection and success are often presented as the standard. When we compare ourselves to these idealized versions of others, it's easy to feel inadequate, unworthy, or like we don't measure up. We see the highlight reels of others' lives and believe that we are somehow lacking, leading to a sense of personal failure. This cycle of comparison diminishes our self-esteem and creates a distorted view of reality. The truth is that everyone has their own unique journey, and no one's life is as perfect as it may appear on the surface. The fear of judgment also keeps us stuck in inaction. We become so paralyzed by the idea of being judged negatively that we hesitate to take risks, try new things, or put ourselves out there. We worry about how others will perceive our decisions, our failures, and our successes. Will people criticize us for taking a different path? Will they think we are foolish for pursuing an unconventional dream? These questions swirl in our minds and keep us from moving forward. We become prisoners of our own fear, trapped in the cycle of overthinking and second-guessing ourselves. The result is missed opportunities, unfulfilled potential, and the constant regret of never having taken that leap of faith. The fear of judgment also affects our relationships. We may hold back from being truly vulnerable or authentic with others because we fear that they will judge us. We may put on a facade of perfection, hiding our struggles, insecurities, and flaws. We become so concerned with how others perceive us that we lose touch with who we really are. This can lead to shallow, surface-level connections rather than deep, meaningful relationships. Authenticity is the foundation of genuine connection, and when we are afraid of being judged, we distance ourselves from others and prevent ourselves from experiencing the true closeness and intimacy that come from being open and vulnerable. One of the most powerful ways to overcome the fear of judgment is to shift our focus from external validation to internal validation. Instead of relying on the approval of others to define our worth, we must learn to validate ourselves. This means accepting ourselves as we are, flaws and all, and recognizing that our value does not depend on the opinions of others. Self-validation comes from knowing that we are enough, regardless of how others perceive us. It involves cultivating self-compassion and self-acceptance, and giving ourselves permission to be imperfect. When we learn to validate ourselves from within, we free ourselves from the crippling need for external approval. Another crucial step in overcoming the fear of judgment is to embrace vulnerability. It's natural to want to protect ourselves from judgment, but the truth is that vulnerability is where true connection and growth happen. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we show up as our authentic selves and we invite others to do the same. Vulnerability creates space for real. Choosing peace also means letting go of the need to control or change others. Often, when we feel hurt or wronged, our instinct is to make the other person understand their mistake, to make them see things from our perspective, or to correct their behavior. This desire to control or change others can be exhausting and counterproductive. The reality is that we cannot control how others act or think, no matter how justified we feel in our perspective. What we can control, however, is our own reaction. When we focus on maintaining our peace, we release the need for external validation and instead turn inward, cultivating a sense of strength and self-assurance that is not dependent on the actions of others. This shift allows us to remain calm, grounded, and in control, even when others around us are acting in ways that challenge our peace. The ability to choose peace over reaction also fosters emotional resilience. Life is unpredictable, and we will inevitably face challenges, disappointments, and difficult people. The emotional toll of constantly reacting to every negative situation can wear us down, causing stress, anxiety, and burnout. By choosing peace, we preserve our energy and protect our emotional health. We stop wasting our emotional resources on conflict that doesn't serve us and begin to focus on responses that promote our well-being. Over time, choosing peace strengthens our resilience, teaching us how to navigate life's challenges with calmness and equanimity, no matter what comes our way. This resilience allows us to stay focused on our long-term goals and stay grounded, even in the face of adversity. Another important aspect of choosing peace is recognizing that reacting often leads to further harm, both for ourselves and for others. When we react impulsively, we risk saying or doing things that we might later regret. Harsh words, angry outbursts, or defensive behavior can leave lasting scars on our relationships. Even if we are justified in our feelings, reacting impulsively often means that we are acting from a place of hurt, not from a place of clarity or wisdom. On the other hand, when we choose peace, we allow ourselves the opportunity to respond thoughtfully, in a way that is measured and compassionate. This not only helps to preserve our relationships, but also fosters an environment of respect and understanding, even in times of disagreement. Choosing peace also means letting go of the need to always be right or to win every argument. Often, when we react impulsively, our desire to defend our position becomes more about our ego than about the actual issue at hand. This need to prove ourselves right or to win the argument can lead to unnecessary conflict, because our focus shifts from resolving the issue to protecting our pride. But when we choose peace, we let go of that need to be right. We recognize that being right is not as important as maintaining the relationship and keeping our inner peace. This perspective helps us approach difficult situations with humility, openness, and a willingness to listen, rather than focusing on proving a point. It also creates space for more constructive and collaborative conversations where both sides can be heard and understood. One of the most transformative effects of choosing peace over reaction is the opportunity for personal growth. Every situation where we are tempted to react is an opportunity for us to practice emotional intelligence, mindfulness, and self-control. The more we choose peace, the better we become at managing our emotions and maintaining our sense of balance, even when faced with challenges. This practice of responding thoughtfully, rather than reacting impulsively, builds our capacity for self-awareness, empathy, and self-regulation. Over time, we develop a deeper understanding of ourselves, our triggers, and our emotional patterns, which empowers us to make more conscious choices in all areas of our lives. Choosing peace is not just about responding to others, it is also about developing greater mastery over our inner world. Moreover, when we choose peace, we create a ripple effect that extends beyond ourselves. Our calm and measured responses can influence the people around us, encouraging them to respond similarly. In difficult situations, when others see us responding with composure and understanding, it can inspire them to choose peace as well. This can create a more peaceful and harmonious environment, both at home and at work. By choosing peace, we contribute to a culture of respect and kindness, which ultimately benefits everyone involved. Choosing peace is not always easy, especially when we feel hurt, threatened, or misunderstood. However, the rewards of maintaining our peace far outweigh the temporary satisfaction of reacting in anger or frustration. When we choose peace, we cultivate inner strength, emotional resilience, and healthier relationships. We also open ourselves up to deeper levels of personal growth and understanding. In the long run, choosing peace over reaction empowers us to navigate life's challenges with grace and wisdom, transforming not only how we deal with others, but also how we deal with ourselves. When we choose peace over reaction, we often need to confront our deepest fears and insecurities. It's easy to react from a place of fear, hurt, or defensiveness because we want to protect ourselves from further emotional pain or rejection. In such moments, the fear of vulnerability can drive us to respond in a way that defends our pride or shields our ego, even when it may not be in our best interest. Yet the power of peace lies in its ability to dissolve these fears, allowing us to stand strong and secure in who we are without needing to prove anything to others. When we choose to not react to someone who has hurt us, we stop perpetuating the cycle of fear and instead invite clarity, confidence, and emotional balance into our lives. The fear of vulnerability is one of the most significant barriers to peace. In many situations where we feel hurt, our immediate response is to protect ourselves by putting up walls, being defensive, or attacking back. This reaction stems from our natural instinct to guard our emotional well-being, but it often comes at a cost. We close ourselves off from the opportunity for growth and healing. By choosing peace instead of reacting, we choose to face our vulnerabilities head-on. We stop hiding behind defensiveness or pride, allowing ourselves to be open and honest with how we feel, without the need for justification or retaliation. This openness is not a sign of weakness, but rather a manifestation of emotional strength. It takes far more courage to choose peace and vulnerability than to react from a place of fear and hurt. Additionally, peace brings with it the gift of self-awareness. When we react impulsively, we are often guided by unconscious patterns of behavior that we have developed over time in response to past experiences. These patterns are often rooted in fear, shame, or unresolved pain, and they influence how we respond to the present moment. By choosing peace, we give ourselves the opportunity to break free from these automatic reactions. We create a space in which we can reflect on our feelings, identify the triggers that led to our emotional response, and choose a more mindful and thoughtful course of action. This self-awareness helps us better understand our emotions, allowing us to address the root causes of our hurt instead of simply reacting to the symptoms. By becoming more aware of our triggers and emotional patterns, we can begin to heal the underlying wounds that cause us to react in the first place. Choosing peace also requires us to trust ourselves and trust the process of life. Often when we are hurt, we want to take immediate action to resolve the situation or seek justice. We might feel the need to control the outcome or force the other person to acknowledge their wrongs. However, peace teaches us the value of patience and faith. When we choose to step back and not react, we are trusting that, in time, things will unfold as they should. We are letting go of the need for control and surrendering to the natural course of events. This trust in ourselves and in life is essential to developing peace, because it allows us to navigate difficult situations without feeling the pressure to fix everything immediately. We recognize that we are not in control of everything, and sometimes the best thing we can do is to allow the situation to resolve itself in its own time. Moreover, choosing peace over reaction allows us to respond from a place of clarity rather than confusion or distress. When we react impulsively, we are often driven by overwhelming emotions that cloud our judgment and obscure our ability to think clearly. We may find ourselves saying or doing things that we later regret because we are not fully present or aware of the consequences of our actions. By choosing peace, we give ourselves the gift of clarity. In moments of emotional turmoil, we take a step back, breathe deeply, and center ourselves before responding. This clarity allows us to assess the situation from a place of objectivity, rather than being swept up in the tide of our emotions. We can then respond in a way that is grounded, thoughtful, and aligned with our values, rather than reacting out of anger, fear, or insecurity. One of the most profound benefits of choosing peace over reaction is the peace it brings to our relationships. Relationships are built on trust, communication, and mutual respect. When we react impulsively to someone's words or actions, we risk damaging the trust and respect that we have worked hard to build. Harsh words or defensive behavior can create distance and resentment, leaving both parties feeling misunderstood or hurt. On the other hand, choosing peace allows us to respond with grace, empathy, and understanding. When we take the time to pause and choose a calm, thoughtful response, we open the door to deeper communication and healing. Rather than escalating the conflict, we help create an environment where both parties can express their feelings, listen to one another, and work toward resolution. In this way, choosing peace strengthens our relationships and fosters an atmosphere of respect and cooperation, even in challenging circumstances. Furthermore, peace enables us to develop emotional resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and we will inevitably face challenges, misunderstandings, and conflicts along the way. If we constantly react to every negative situation, we will deplete our emotional resources and become overwhelmed. On the other hand, choosing peace allows us to conserve our energy and focus on what truly matters. Instead of engaging in every argument or conflict, We reserve our emotional strength for the situations that require our attention and effort. Over time, this practice of choosing peace builds our emotional resilience, enabling us to handle stress, setbacks, and difficult emotions with greater ease. We become more adaptable and better able to navigate the inevitable storms of life with a sense of inner calm. Choosing peace also allows us to lead by example. When we choose to remain calm and composed in the face of adversity, we inspire others to do the same. Our behavior sets a standard for how we expect to be treated and how we treat others in return. In the workplace, at home, or in social settings, our choice to choose peace in difficult situations creates a ripple effect, encouraging those around us to follow suit. This collective commitment to peace helps to foster a culture of respect, understanding, and cooperation, where everyone feels heard, valued, and supported. Lastly, choosing peace helps us align with our deeper values and purpose. When we react impulsively, we are often driven by our emotions or by external pressures. We may act in a way that contradicts our values or leads us to compromise our integrity. However, by choosing peace, we give ourselves the opportunity to respond in a way that is consistent with our true selves. We can choose to act with kindness, compassion, and wisdom, staying true to who we are even in the face of adversity. This alignment with our values brings a sense of fulfillment and inner peace that no external circumstance can take away. Ultimately, choosing peace over reaction is an act of strength, self-awareness, and wisdom.